What is up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, and we're gonna take a little break from WrestleMania, from Money in the Bank week and Worlds Collide, as we're gonna talk some baseball here. And the White Sox, they didn't have a great series against the Orioles as they got swept, but they came home and they took two out, two out of four against the Tigers. They split the series, and things are looking a little bit better, and things have just it's felt better to be a White Sox fan, and it's sad because they are still 20 and 42, 43, something like that. But there was some news today about the owner of the White Sox and a lot of things to get to. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get the guys in here and let's start talking about some White Sox baseball. So, my right-hand man, what's up, Deech? How are you doing today?
Doing good. I didn't catch all the game, but it was an overall good game. Sox won, split the series against Detroit, so there's not much more you can ask for there.
Especially against the best team in baseball, and that's it is the divisional team, but it's one of those things. It's always good to beat them. But let's get our third guy in here, Justin. What's up, man? How you doing?
Going on, fellas?
How you feeling? How has your week been? And you said you actually caught most of the game today, for the most part.
Relative to other Thursday day games, I did see a bit of today, yes. I set it off before we got in here. I thought they were in a lot of trouble after the second inning because they forced Mize to throw so many pitches but didn't capitalize, left the bases loaded in the second. And so typically when you're up against the best team in baseball like that, the margins are pretty thin. The Tigers don't want to leave this series with a split, so my thought was they're fucked. So then I kind of tuned out. But I think they ended up scoring in the third or fourth, not long after. And then, we're able to pull it out in extras. So I was pleasantly surprised with the series, I suppose, especially coming off getting swept by the other worst team in the American League with Baltimore.
I said it last week. I was like,
we got them going, though.
Waco. Yep. They won 5 in a row now, I think. 6 in a row, something like that, man.
They were losing today, but before that, I don't know. Yeah, it helps.
That maybe that's the thing. Maybe the Tigers got too comfortable. They saw the weekend and they were like, well, the Orioles beat them, so we don't got to try so hard.
They skipped Skubal to save them for the Cubs this weekend. So that was, that's essentially, what was that? Tuesday was a second game of the series. I ended up doing like a bullpen game. Yeah.
And that.
But if they kind of
that game tomorrow, are you going to the Tigers Cubs game tomorrow?
They're in Detroit this week.
Oh, are they in Detroit? Oh, I figured they were in Chicago because they just left. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, Sox are home this weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just figured the Tigers went right to Wrigley since make that easier. Spend just a whole week in Chicago, I guess not.
Yeah, the Marlins did that earlier this year, so it makes sense. But now they're up in Detroit.
Well, Deech, what you want to start off here with?
Well, you mentioned we are now 20 and 43. I did look up
exactly.
I looked up what the record was last year, to just kind of see. We were 15 and 47, and it just had blown one of those games against the Cubs. It was Leisure who lost or whatever. Of course. So there's a little bit of progress being made. I know it's not tremendous, so I just thought I'd point that out. And we kind of hit on the split with Detroit and the sweep in Baltimore, getting swept in Baltimore. So how did either of you feel about the Luis Robert 3-day hiatus?
Well, he was actually supposed to play today, but a ball bounced off of his head, so they had to take him out. And then apparently, Ozzy was talking to him after it, because Ozzy was talking on the post-game show. Yeah, he had like a 20-minute conversation with him. So I think it's really interesting. But just like Tim Alco, and I'm not trying to compare him, but he's swinging at everything, like the at bats, and even he came up in key situations during the Tiger series, and even I think in the Orioles series a little bit, that he's not becoming the guy that we can rely on for a base hit or even a fly ball. Like I don't know what's going on. And somebody made a comment about him going to Charlotte, and I don't know, what are we just gonna say everybody to Charlotte after they struggle? That's not how this works.
Someone clarified, though. I saw.
He's out of
he's out of options.
Well, yeah, so that wouldn't even be able to be possible. But he'll obviously be in the lineup tomorrow, and I think his numbers are actually okay against Kansas City, but I just feel like he's got to get something going because, as he said multiple times, we ain't getting nothing for this guy at the trade deadline if he continues like this.
Justin,
yeah, I don't have many thoughts on it. He's officially in the camp where I don't care if I never see him take another at bat for the White Sox. If they cut ties with him right now and got nothing for him, I wouldn't care because he doesn't care. And it's just obvious. And I think it's pathetic if you're a professional athlete and you're getting paid millions to do this and you have to step out for multiple days to like get yourself right. And, you know, he's supposed to be the best player on this team in theory. And so I think it's a joke. And whatever happened today with the ball off the dome, whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect embodiment of him of how I will remember his tenure here.
It's all of them. I swear to God. Even like Giolito went out and got shelled yesterday for the Red Sox. Anderson got released in the past week. I think they said the guy that's having the best season out of all of them is freaking Moncada. Every time I see, they freaking show an Angel home runs by him. And
he
you
went
mentioned
on
the 20th
IL,
win.
though.
We did not get our 20th win last year until June 18th. So we are 13 days ahead of the game. That's so sad.
Well, I think what's interesting with the Robert thing is if he comes back and it like does not get any better, you can't keep like playing him in the lineup. I mean, the lineup performed better these last couple of days without him. I mean, there were situations where you're like, if Robert was slated where he normally would be in the lineup, he would have just killed the inning.
Yeah, they had a great inning today. They scored when in the inning where they scored the first run. They scored twice. I like I said, I think it was the third or the fourth. It was a classic. Get them on, get them over, get them in. You know, they had first and second, nobody out. What's his face actually had a really nice bunt. Who's the guy everybody complains about now? The shortstop, or not the
Slater.
Yeah, Capra. He came
okay.
very nice bunt, second and third, one out, and then came the sac fly from Talkman, and it was such perfect, like classic. I always associated with like the Ron Gardenhire twins. Get him on, get him over, get him in, just efficient, and him in the middle of any of that, you can't count on him to get on. He can't when he's swinging at shit, move the guys over, and he wouldn't come up and hit a fly ball in the leadoff spot like Talkman did and drive them in. And then Mydrith obviously ended up coming through right after that with a rope down the first base line. And so you just watch all that happen, and then where does he fit into that? He's an inning killer. He doesn't fit into any part of that. Productive outs are a real thing. He doesn't do that. You can't do that when you're just up there swinging at everything. So I'm right there with you, man. I take him out of the lineup, do whatever with him. Like, just because he was touted as whatever or he's making whatever doesn't mean if he's not giving you your best chance every day by having him in the lineup. Michael A. Taylor plays a fine center field. I mean, he homered the other night, and I mean, it is what it is. It's not like they're missing. The stolen bases are nice. They want to use Robert as a pinch runner.
That's what I'm saying at this point. If he was even batting, I don't think he's batting over 200.
No, I don't think he's sniffing it.
He's got to be like 170 something.
I mean, if he was batting like 240 and getting on base enough, I mean, he could have a significant lead in stolen bases this year because that's the only thing he can actually do.
Yeah,
177.
It's been a disaster for him. So I mean, I'm ready to be done thinking about him and having him here. It's refreshing. Some of the newer faces. I like Mike Talkman and Chase Mydrith at the top of the lineup. Gives them it's enjoyable. At least those guys. I mean, Mydrith got on base 5 times today. Like I said, they delivered the RBIs in the first inning where they scored. So you actually have dudes who are going up there and can put together professional and productive at bats. Robert doesn't fit in that category. Andrew Vaughn stopped fitting in that category. That's when you move off of guys, and knowing when to move off of guys, which Eric talked about when he was on here a couple weeks ago, is an important part. So, yeah, I'm with you. No disagreements here.
And they haven't even mentioned Andrew Vaughn since he's got sent down. Usually you see highlights. I've seen more Brooks Baldwin highlights than anything.
Yeah, Brooks Baldwin is tricking Sox fans' brains who don't remember all the other 4A guys who have played for us the past few years, I'm afraid.
Sadly.
I think he might. I mean, at best, could probably be like a Lurie Garcia where he can fill in off the bench. But I mean, acting like that's going to just start translating in the majors is, I don't know.
No, it's not. Yeah, is what it is.
This is a good point. Speaking of Talkman, he is technically eligible for arbitration next year, I believe. He still has 1 year left of arbitration. So there are some fans who are saying instead, because they've ranted and raved about him, I guess, in the clubhouse being like a veteran and players going to him for pointers and stuff, should they keep him at the deadline?
they don't need to flip these middle of the road guys for bullshit prospects. I mean, in my opinion, there's not. What is Mike Talkman realistically getting you? I mean, he's a left-handed bat who can play the outfield. I'm not saying he has no value. I'm just saying you're not getting like eventually you have to build some sort of culture, even if you aren't winning games. And the way you do that when you're as scorched earth as they had to go is bringing in steady veteran presence like Mike Talkman, like Michael A. Taylor, who just kind of show these guys how to be professionals, how to carry themselves day to day in the league, how to survive the grind of a 162 game season. And there's a lot of value in that, like you said, they're raving about him in the clubhouse. That goes well beyond the field. And so for me, I don't need to see these guys get flipped for single A, double A pitchers who could end up like Jake Eater and never pitch an inning for the big league club. That doesn't do anything for me at all. So I'm assuming that you're lockstep with me on this, Deech.
I mean, at this point, I know with the announcement today, and they're being rumored that the brothers are going to be kind of throwing some money into the pot to kind of help over the next 2 years. I still think I even as a bench guy next year, if you had him, you're not going to be paying him anything crazy. I don't believe. I think he's making like what a couple million,
Not
if that.
Much. Yeah, I mean, he's signed here. They don't know him trading him to a contender. He's under contract here. Keep him here. Yeah. Let him help these young guys come up and learn the ropes of being a Major League Baseball player and leading by example. I mean, they did not have any. I mean, I hate even continuing to reference this every fucking show, but they did not have any of that the last go around, and that came to show with how a lot of these guys turned out, not only on the field performance, but just general body language and just the image people have of them in their mind. They really lacked that. And be nice if some of these guys started coming up, especially through who's going to be up next year, and still having guys like him around rather than, we got the 15th ranked prospect in the Mariners system, probably not even that high. 15th ranked prospect. You're
not wrong, though. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they didn't have that, and that's kind of what I feel like Dallas Keuchel called out when he went off on that tirade about the team, and then everyone shat on him for it, and it literally just came to fruition. So I mean, at this point,
turns out the guy who had been in the World Series clubhouse knew how things were supposed to look, and not all these other guys. Yeah, I mean, Keuchel, Lynn, but Lynn waited until he was. Well, I guess they both kind of waited until they were out of time to run their mouth. But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
So I mean, a guy like Talkman, I don't think. I mean, if you can get something for some of these players, they'll probably either have to cut them or keep them.
Please.
They're like very high on Leisure. Every time I think, hey, maybe they're gonna pull him back and not let him in this like high leverage role almost every time. What did he pitch last night?
Yup, he was the one that gave up the blooper.
Yeah,
it's just like, and it's funny because ever since you said that, they do it every single time, and it's just like we need, But I think like that's the thing. Like those are the types of guys. Like I think that they need to we need to get off of this train that it's a guy like the crazy people that want to trade the Shane Smiths of the world. Like, what are we doing? We're just going to keep getting these guys and trading them? That's not how this works. Eventually, we have to keep some of these. And a guy like Togman, I think, would be good to continue to help build, obviously, what they seem to be building. And, I mean, even like Elko hugging Chase Mydroff at the end of the game after the walk-off, it just shows, like, that those two have the connection from playing together and everything else like that. And that's what we're trying to build with, like, Edgar and those guys. So it just, I don't know. That's my frustration because I'm just tired of the revolving cycle and the looping it for an eternity. I think we were just wired that way, sadly, too. Fucking Kenny Williams and shit did that to us.
So Cannon obviously went to the IL. I believe we all can agree here the Bryce Wilson experiment of having him do these spot starts isn't working. I had tweeted out yesterday that I think they should just start throwing Vassell every 5 days. I mean, he may not go super. I mean, he may give you 4 innings, but he pitched 3 innings last night of shutout ball. I just think
that's my concern. I think I think that it's a very interesting, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed, but when you have such limited talent in the bullpen, and he's been one of the guys you can actually rely on down there, now you're using him, you kind of lose him in that role to patch that rotation spot, which again, I mean, neither one of them are good. Either way, you're patching one hole and opening up another. But it's an interesting thought.
And Will Venable actually touched on it pregame today and said that they're considering using Vassell for some, which if they do that, I'll be completely. I mean, I just think the bullpen's going to be bad, and they just are going to count on their bats to kind of carry them a little bit. Not that it's consistently happening, but I mean, I was pointing out with Tino earlier, you have Talkman batting 321, Mydros batting 312, Carroll's 256, Slater's 260. You have got, I mean, there wasn't a single guy last year that was fucking batting over 250 on the team in the entire lineup, I felt like.
Yeah, I think they just need some more power because you're right. There are guys who are at least producing, getting on base. Like, imagine if they had a real middle of the order hitting behind Talkman and Mydroth. I mean, they're a while away from having players like that. I don't even know who those guys are going to be. But yeah, it's a good point. There are improvement for sure. They just need to. It's not always good, like the small ball, like I talked about earlier with the bunt and then the sac fly. Like eventually, it's going to have to be. They need guys who can hit ball out of park.
Ball go far, team go far, right, Justin?
Exactly.
And, but I mean that's the thing, and I mean,
And then the next two I can kind of turn into more of one talking point. Obviously, Chase Mydroth is having a pretty damn good rookie season, as is Shane Smith. A lot of people seem to think Shane Smith's going to be the unanimous one all-star candidate. Some people are saying that Chase deserves to make it. I don't know that you can necessarily say that with Chase, but when we got him and me not knowing as much about him as opposed to like Braden Montgomery and Kyle Teal, because it leaked out that Boston was reluctant to throw in Mydroth. Like that's what the holdup was originally, and then they caved on it. So they apparently were pretty not pleased to have to part ways with him, and for him to be playing as well as he is right off the bat is pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, they saw him get him a little more pop, and we got our new Dustin Pedroia.
And that's honestly it's weird because that's what I like because he obviously was developed in Boston. That's kind of what I don't want to get too excited, but it's nice to see a player actually be able to play this. I just try not to get my hopes up too high with any of this, and that's just the thing. But it's funny because all the guys we get from that are actually developed or almost major league ready seem to be coming up and playing well. We just seem to, obviously, as we've talked about a million times, we just can't develop anybody. So, yeah. Colston's doing
for-
good in the
I
minors. That's
can't
good.
wait
So.
for the Jack Caglione homers this weekend at Sox.
No.
I will be waiting with great anticipation as my rookie of the year future that I placed on him before the season started finally can start getting off and running here. He had an RBI double today for his first big league hit. So rooting for the Sox all weekend, obviously, as always, but I will be rooting for Jack every time he steps to the plate.
I can't.
Was that futures bet placed out of spite or?
No, well, I mean, it's always a little bit out of spite, but no, that was a genuine belief in the value of him because he was 2,500 because you knew that he wasn't breaking camp with the team, but you knew that he would be, everything that I read was that he'd be up by June. I thought even more Memorial Day was a possibility. No, that was more so just falling in love with him during the College World Series a couple years ago and just being like, this dude's an absolute beast. And how bad I wanted the Sox to take. Still a little bit out of spite, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So can I ask you guys, do you guys think, because at the time, obviously, we were a couple more picks and we ended up taking Hagen Smith. Do you think they
we
should
took Hagen ahead of Jack?
Yeah, so okay, that's what I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Do you think that we should have taken this guy from like everything I saw? I still remember when we picked Hagen. And then I was like, watch, the Royals are gonna pick him. Whatever. But I mean, do you think we should have? Because like we have all this pitching and everything. I don't know.
Well, I mean, what were we just sitting here saying is this lineup's waiting for the guy to come into the middle of the order and who can hit the ball out of the park. And Jack Caglione was the best power bat in that draft, probably in the last 2 or 3 drafts. And they passed on him because they just can't help themselves with these left-handed pitchers.
They really can't.
Despite the proof of this entire freaking century that having a stud left-handed pitcher at the front of your rotation doesn't mean anything if the rest of your team is bad.
Yep.
But I see the flip side of the coin, and I think we might have even had this with Eric. This sounds super familiar.
Maybe I might have.
At the same time, they drafted with a high pick. They did the one thing they know they can do well, and that's a left-handed starting pitcher.
That's true.
So I do understand that. That's not to say that I don't see the vision. But again, with a team that's just lacked power for ever since they went back to the non-juiced baseballs, frankly, that was sitting there. Yes, I wish that they would have done it. I wanted it at the time, and I think that's going to end up being correct.
So you were talking about batting averages last year. The guy that had the best batting average was Tommy Pham. He had a 266 batting average, and he was gone halfway through the year. Other than that, it was Lenyn Sosa. He also went on the IL this week. I don't know. I know we were talking about Tim Alco, but he was the reason why Tim Alco was called back up. And I know you kind of mentioned it, Deech. Do you guys think that as soon as Lenyn's ready, do you think Alco goes back down, or do you think we send in somebody else down, or it just depends on what happens? Because,
I don't think there's really anyone that they can send down necessarily.
Well, I think that, yeah.
Other than Alco, because Sosa doesn't have any options. So that's why I said, I mean, he's probably going to be up for a bit, but once Sosa comes back, if he continues hitting the way he is, I don't know that they're just going to keep him up there.
Does Palacio?
Because then you'd have to like.
Palacio been in the league for a while?
What'd you say?
I said, has Palacio been in the league for a while? I didn't know who the heck he was until this year.
I think he's kind of like a journeyman, pretty much career minor league guy.
Okay.
But
because I didn't know, I didn't think he had any options too. Because he was the only other one I thought that might have an option. So
yeah, but even then, though, then you're trading an outfielder for an infielder, and I just don't know if they have.
I think we claimed him too, so I don't think they can. He might. I think we claimed him when someone else put him on waivers or DFA'd him.
I just can't.
I think it was Colorado, right? He's the guy where people had the meltdown earlier this year about the batting glove or the whatever the.
Oh no, that was Greg Jones.
Oh my!
He is in Triple J. He has like the glasses,
No, I know. So everything I just said about Palacios' career might be completely inaccurate.
No, you're absolutely right. He's been on a new team every year. And yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a great name, Paul Deach. I'm going to have to remember that down the road when I'm doing the Immaculate Grid.
What name did you pull out?
Greg Jones.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, did I miss another one? Oh, Greg Jones. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, yeah,
So
I think that's the thing with Alco. I mean, again, in AAA, he just keeps getting at bats, and that's again at this point. I mean, again, it's not like we're gonna win a million games this year. Just hopefully we win more than we did last year, and we're halfway there, guys. It's so sad.
Yeah, the good news, I don't think that we're even going to be worried about that at all because this team is just not. I mean, this is that last year's team. I mean, they lost the club. Obviously, the manager was getting fired. Like you knew that
How did we
a lot of the
survive?
guys' time there was coming to an end. It was a little bit of a different feel. This team might not be better talent wise overall, top to bottom, but the all the external factors are at play are not going to allow them to even sniff setting that record again. I don't think.
No,
no,
Rockies
and
are
you have
playing hot.
Colorado, who's just
Smoke.
aren't they doing an investigation now into like
What?
the Players Association or something? I saw.
Why? Because they won 3 in a row.
No, well, I haven't seen any of that, Deej, but I would say
No,
that
either did I.
this is going to be real. So it's already the outlook is already gloomy enough for this lockout that's going to happen in a couple of years when this CBA is up, and the game is in. It's going to be hard to argue that the game is not in a terrible spot if the all-time loss record that stood for however the hell long that stood gets broken 2 years in a row by two different teams. It's going to really show the competitive imbalance in the league, and there's going to be a lot that they need to figure out. So I think we're gonna. This is completely off topic, but when that CBA is up and they get back to those meetings, we're going to be in a really bad spot and potentially miss a season or at the very least a good chunk of one. Because I mean, I haven't heard anything about this investigation, but I assume it is revolves around the fact that these
It's
teams.
like the imbalance of spending, I think, is what's
Well, some teams don't even try. I mean, Pittsburgh is the worst when it comes to that. Miami, I mean, who just got
I was looking at like the entire league and just the breakdown of every team's there. I was like, wow, there may be some other teams that the Sox win more games than. I mean, there's some teams that are just scraping just as low as we are. I mean, maybe a 3-game difference, but you're still like, I mean, Baltimore maybe get out of it, but Pittsburgh, yeah, I don't think their record's very good at all.
No.
Yeah, why? I mean, they have Paul Skeens. They have the best pitcher in the National League, and he has a losing record. So, I mean, if they aren't winning his starts,
Yeah, the Pittsburgh's 23 and 39, and then the A's are 24 and 40.
yeah, they're 1-20 in their last 21. They had a decent start, which that just sucks. Again, who knows what would happen if they played the Sox today? But Tino, you definitely said this on here before about like when you play a team. And the fact that the Sox played Oakland in the first month of the season where Oakland was actually playing good ball and now have just completely tailspin. Like, I'd love for them to be coming here this weekend instead of Kansas City, right? But that's not how it goes. And I say that now, but if we went out there, we'd probably still get whether they get swept or lose, whatever they did. But
just like Baltimore last week, we thought we had, and it's funny. John said something on the broadcast on Thursday or Wednesday. And I was like, gosh, I hate it because it's exactly what the Red Sox did. They said we're gonna go into Chicago and beat the White Sox, and then we won 2 out of 3. But we got swept.
Yeah, I mean, Griffin says a lot of things I wish he didn't say as an announcer for the team. But that's
I do think though the Orioles. While we're talking about, I think the Orioles are too I don't know if they're going to be able to make a full comeback. Like they might be able to make a little run, but they might be too far down to even be able to make like a wild card division run because
No, but they won't be at the bottom of the league. It's not like they're just going to bottom out completely. I just meant they'd you could maybe push for a wild card, but I mean
the lineup's still good. They have starters that they're getting back, but at the end of the day, I mean, we saw it happen here. Like the window closes fast. They won 100 games 2 years ago, and the most wins in the AL, I think.
I think that Santander letting him walk, I think, burned them.
Yeah, and
he
hasn't
flipped
good, but yeah.
Well, because you could have flipped Kerstad or one of those guys that you were dead set on having to keep your entire farm intact, and then you could have had a Garrett Crochet. I mean, that would have been insane if we traded for one of those. I think it was Kerstad and Mayo. I don't think either of them are doing that great.
Colby Mayo's a bitch, man. Fuck that guy. I don't care about whatever, man. Fuck you. You don't get to just push people because you're angry. Like literally just pushed him just because he felt like. I was ready. I was waiting for Vargas to fucking take off his mid and throw some punches like Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez.
Need
I
to
almost said
ever
Altuve.
that ever again. I mean, my favorite is that people are like people who obviously aren't as dialed into the White Sox think that is what derailed Tim Anderson's career. And I just read those tweets and I'm like, Tim Anderson was never the same after that moment. Tim Anderson sucked that entire year. Tim Anderson was already broken. That is what contributed to the fight starting, is he was going to complete tailspin all year long. That doesn't matter, but I just always get a kick out of that when you have like national fans saying that.
Well, and doesn't, just touching back on the Luis Robert taking the 3-day hiatus, didn't Tim Anderson do that during his tailspin year?
Yeah.
Where he would just sit for multiple days straight and he'd be like in the batting cages, like working on stuff. It's just insane that these guys that we thought were going to just be, I mean, even Chris Getz took a gamble and kept Robert. He could have flipped him for something this offseason. And now it's like, I mean, minimally, you just pay him the $2.5 million buyout at the end of this year if you can't flip him. But I don't know if they'll DFA him. I guess you just pay him the buyout anyways.
It's all about the money with this. It's all about a business.
So
all it is.
But I did go Tuesday to Shane Smith's start, and
of course you did. You should just be a regular at these starts now. Come on now.
Well, it was $5 Tuesday. The weather looked nice. I was like, all right, I'll go.
Hey, man, I wish I had that ability just to be able to get up and go. Like, I love it.
But he shoved, especially after, I mean, his last few starts, he really struggled with his command. I don't know. Is Detroit not as good as we thought, or did the Sox just kind of step up this week? I mean, especially in regards to that start. Because Kerry Carpenter the first night hit like three home runs?
Yeah.
Kerry's ass.
So it was just interesting to see them get completely shelled the night before and then have him make most of their lineup just look stupid at the plate.
You know what it is, though? It's a Chicago thing. I know you watch other sports. They always play up to the opponent's level. The Sox, the Bulls, the Bears, they've always played up to whoever they're playing. That's how they play. If they're a bad team, they play like shit. If they're a good team, they play good. And it's never made sense to me for some reason that sometimes they play really good against these teams, and then we'll go play like the Athletics, and then we get swept. And it's like, how are we not doing this when you should be able to just do that? So that's how I felt, where it was just like, we played up to the Tigers because the Tigers are the best team in baseball, and they had something to prove. We lost 11 in a row before we won on Tuesday. I think at home or against the Tigers in general. And the last time, or it was at home because the last home win was Jake Berger's walk-off grand slam, and they showed it about 5 times this week. So, I don't know. That's how I feel with that. So, it's nice to see. I just want, again, Chuck has even said, it's the consistency. Just let's see it. Because, like, the offense, too, where they'll score the 8 runs, and then they forget how to hit the ball the next day. And it's like, you score 8. If we scored 8 runs a day with this pitching staff, we'd be the best team in baseball. Because, I mean, like, the way some of these pitchers pitch is really good. And then, obviously,
Well, the thing that – go ahead, Justin.
Oh, yeah, I just think it was a 4-game road series in the middle of the week for Detroit, and they pushed their – I mean, if they don't push Skubal, they take 3 out of 4. And then then we're not even having this conversation. It's just business as usual. Instead, we get to feel good because we split by taking a close game tonight. And, I mean, I guess you can look at the flip side and say, like, yeah, but, take out that first inning for Detroit yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're looking ahead to this weekend a little bit. I still think they're the best team in the AL. I think it was a nice series from the Sox to be able to get a couple wins from them, and then that's where they're going to make up these games from last year, is that they won like 4 games against the AL Central, not against Minnesota. So
that's true. Shit, they might have already tied it. I feel like we beat our division more this year than we have last year already, but Now you get to
Didn't
play
we
our
even not
wonderful
even
team.
beat certain teams last year in the division?
They
Yeah.
have one win against the Royals and Tigers, I'm pretty sure.
Yup.
Okay. But it
Yeah,
was
so we've
still
already
like
doubled
something
that.
absurd where you should just automatically win at least two. Like you should not like have one win in when you're playing a team as much as we do.
Right.
They need to do like a documentary on last year because like all of it's a blur to me now. Like how the hell did we live through that? Because all of like talking about it now just is like I don't know how we sat here because I do remember there were like 2 or 3 podcasts in a row that we did and we did not have a win. I was like, what the hell are we going to talk about? They have not won a baseball game in 2 weeks. So
I don't know if you can see the chat. Can either of you look real quick? This
Steele got called up. So that was actually something I was going to bring up too. I'll look it up, but go ahead. Go ahead and say what it is, and then I'll.
I don't know what it is. That's what I was
I'll
asking.
search it up right
Oh
now.
well, I said it right. I have it right there. So apparently, Kyle Teal is being called up, and I don't know. But where are you getting this news? Because I don't see that.
I'm looking on Twitter right now since my camera's obviously already boned.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody would be sharing that, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, I expected to see it right away. I have not. I'll go following instead of for you. See if I got like Merck on here or something.
Yeah, those are the only people I believe. So.
Okay,
yeah, so
well,
go.
okay, all right. Kyle Teal, he was scratched from the line. This is from Chris Catalu. I don't even know. He's a Red Sox beat writer. He says here in Charlotte, Kyle Teal was scratched from the lineup before first pitch, and he's expected to join the White Sox for his major league debut. Underdog MLB had it 6 minutes ago. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's legit unless multiple people have bad sources here. So, Deech, you were on the money with the Comcast thing.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That did just click in my head when, ironically, all of a sudden, the Ishbia brothers are now going to eventually take over, all in like what, a 48-hour span.
Yup.
Yeah.
I swear, when I first read this, it said 2025. I don't know what the hell I was reading at first, but it says 2034. It took me a second. So, boy, yeah.
Well,
So
and that's very like minimal. When I read through the one article, it was interesting because they're committed to like throwing in money and paying off whatever debt the organization has, starting as of like this year. So it'll be interesting. I don't think they'll have a crazy payroll, but
I mean,
I feel like we are a big market city. Like Chicago's a big market. We should have a higher payroll, shouldn't we?
What did you say, Justin?
Northbrook Bob, who is, I think considered a very reliable source on Sox Twitter, said like this isn't going to mean like a $200 million payroll or anything like that. Which they probably don't need to have a $200 million payroll next year anyway, but in the next couple of years. But
well, think about it. If Robert's gone, you only are paying Benintendi.
Yeah.
So you even if they're giving you like $125 million payroll as opposed to what are we at this year, like 70, 80 range? I don't even know. After all the signings and adding, so I mean that'd be enough where you can go actually spend on like one or two if you want to just split it that way. They probably won't necessarily do that, but because you'll need bullpen arms. That has been frustrating. The bullpen in and of itself just seems inconsistent.
Sadly, I think that's just what it's going to be until we get guys. And as you said with Vassell, like yesterday, I know, Justin, you kind of mentioned, like, you take away that first thing with Jordan Leisure's ass, why didn't we just start with Vassell? Why do we bring Vassell into the second after Leisure gave up 4 runs?
Like, that was no Schuster.
Or Schuster, I'm sorry, not sure. I just hate Leisure, but either way. Schuster, like, I don't know, like, Schuster's another one like Leisure. I just don't think he can, like, handle the high leverage. So it's one of those things, but again, I guess they're just not looking at the wins and they're looking at the performances and this and that, and because there's a lot of games I feel like we eventually are going to win because the record that we have with 1-2 run games is kind of ridiculous this year. And you even take half of those, and we have 30 wins now. So, I mean, that's kind of just.
Yes, I actually did have someone pointed that out in one of the group chats that I was in. The Sox have played in 20 games that were decided by one run. And this was before today's game, obviously, but they have lost 17 of those 20.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So the bullpen obviously needs to be addressed, but I had a thought on just what they're doing now. All these people keep clamoring on Twitter for certain ones of these younger, I think like Addison Coffey's a name, Peyton Pillette. Guys, I think Eric touched on that he said he could see later in the season. I think they're just going to ride with this bullpen and see which of these guys get even remotely like some traction and just flip them and try and do like a Tanner Banks trade where you just get somewhat of a wild card. But that guy we got for Tanner Banks, people keep raving about. Apparently he's been doing really well in Birmingham. So
one, I think that's the thing with these bullpen arms, where just like, and that's the thing. It's like I feel like this team is going to be so much more exciting than they've already been this year after a trade deadline and after some of these guys are gone, where they can call up some guys and have the ability. Because like there's the other guy, is it Gonzalez or Wilker Gonzalez or something like that they're all clamoring over that they want them to bring up, and even some of the guys they brought up recently, like Caleb and stuff, they haven't been going bad. It's more or less just the same guys, like the Schusters and the Leisures and the this and the that, and so.
I'll tell you, until the deadline, I would love if they just place Dan Altavia as the closer.
That he kind of reminds me of who's that? Who's the one dude? I forgot what his name was, but yeah, man, he's great.
I'm just saying he clearly can just go out there and do it, as opposed to these other guys who just get in their own heads and stuff. I mean, from what I've seen from him, I'm to just keep riding this guy out. They had him, he pitched the 9th today or the 10th?
Yeah, well, they had him in the 9th and he pitched well, and then they brought him out there again for the 10th. He walked the first guy, and then Venable went to the bullpen.
Okay.
They brought in,
but yeah, no, I mean, he was good in the 9th. I was actually going to bring that up, that I didn't really love that they brought him out there for the 10th. But again, you're so low on arms out there of people you can trust that. I mean, I don't hate it. I'm certainly not at the point where I'm going to sit and nitpick the manager. Where we are 2 years away from me even developing an opinion on Will Venable. So,
Justin, when they become good and everything, are you going to come on the podcast and just like have like the best episode ever? We're like 10 games over 500. We're first place.
Across that bridge when we get there.
He said we'll cross that bridge. You're right. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
But speaking of that whole kind of sale or whatever's going on with the Ishbia brothers kind of slowly taking over, I'm not sure. I'm sure, Justin, you saw it because I believe the Fire, like, or what, you sponsors of work or something like that. Yeah, they took at least part of the land in the 78 loop that Jerry was envisioning as where the new ballpark would go. So I just thought that was interesting that also came out. Like everything just came out this week. So
yeah, there was I mean, they, everyone said, oh, they got dunked on or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it was a crazy week. A lot seemed to happen fast. But also at the same time, it's not happening fast because we're years away from any of the news that came out today really even being relevant. Pending, we'll see what happens, like you said, with these like financial contributions.
It's a question for you that I would not. I like, what happens if something happens to Jerry before then? So then does he just officially take over, or is that like?
I think then his family would just take over. It's like that 2029 date is like locked in. There is no. That's what I don't think people don't. I mean, then obviously his sons or whatever would probably maybe sell to the. I don't. It really just depends on what they decide to do after that. Until 2029, and I think they can keep deferring until 2034 if they really wanted to.
And then it is up to Ishiba. Then he can say in 2034, I want the team, or not. Which I don't know why he'd get in on all this now or to not. But that was how I interpreted it.
Yeah, an optimistic look at it is maybe Jerry's trying to make one more run and see if he can in the next few years pop one off before he passes or just gets to the point of being unable to be coherent of what's going on with the team. But it's interesting.
Know if he at this point even knows what he goes into actually fielding a winning team in the modern day Major League Baseball. That's a great point, and I think you're probably correct that is the thought process for him. Is let's see this next one through. I still don't know if he truly knows what it takes to build a win and to give the resources for winners to be built. Is still the concern for me.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I am trying to not be too I feel like this core of players do not have the flaws of the previous core, at least from what we've seen so far.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and I think that's the thing is, it's just like even like I said, like even like Tim and Chase hugging after the walk off, like you would you would see like guys get excited and everything, but then all of a sudden like the one time Eloy got fucking injured celebrating the walk off, or that, and then how he got like just stupid shit like that, where it just like. It's just like, or even like the defensive play some of these guys make. It's just like we've talked about, like not having anxiety trying to turn a double play, and we still see it with Lenyn Sosa's ass. Find the base guy, please find second and first base. But I mean, and again, it's sad that we have 20 wins, and I feel like we have like 40 this year already.
Yeah, that's true.
And and that's how bad. Like that's why it's like crazy how bad last year really was. Because I'm just like thinking, I'm like, we're still not even that good, but it feels so much better. And because yeah,
you just have these young guys really just step. I mean, like Chase, for example, you can put him pretty much in any position, even if it's like a high leverage at bat, and he's going to give you a quality at bat every single time.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I mean, ignore the rest of Elko's day because it was horrible and not very encouraging, but or not very encouraging. But the difference between this year and last year is illustrated in the fact that last year, in no game at any point did we have a game in which we had a rookie get on base 5 times and then another rookie deliver a walk-off hit to split a series with the best team in the American League. There's just it's those little moments because like they're still doing circus shit, like the way they lost the game last night, and they've had some bad. I mean, oh my god, was that in Baltimore this weekend where Caro threw down to second base and the guy ran home from third when the Orioles had third? I mean, that's like that's like 13 years old. You learn how to not let that happen, and you put in plays to not let that happen. And so that's why I walk back on any fun bad comments, but they have moments like this. And I think there are fun moments. There were literally none last year. It was like, oh, Fetty was a pleasant surprise. Oh, Garrett Crochet finally arrived.
I can't even remember one fun game last year.
Yeah.
Oh no, I lied, one game.
And the Garrett Crochet thing got frustrating towards the end because you'd go to see him start and they'd throw him 2 innings. And it was just like, okay, now you don't even get to really enjoy this because by the time you have a beer, he's out of the game. So
by the time, I mean, we know how much you love your beer and your sunflower seeds. Man, I want to get you like a cup specifically for that. It's so great.
So apparently Fegan just confirmed the Teal news, which is interesting because then who is going down?
Vinny? Does Vinny have any options?
No, Vinny Capra, we claim.
Very hard time believing they're carrying 3 catchers. Like, shit, dude, it could be Elko, and they could play Teal at first base, right?
Imagine a walk off, and then he gets sent down.
Well,
but again, see, this is what I was saying before we got on. Like, people are going, the send down is coming, and
it is.
If it was tonight or tomorrow, and it's gonna be like, oh, you just had the walk off. Like, if you watch any of the other at bats today,
it was not good.
Surprised, alarmed, or upset that he's going back down, especially if it's giving an opportunity for Teal. I mean, I would get it if it was for like.
And I think it's also good that you let him leave off on a good note too. Like the last thing they were like, if hypothetically it is Elko, the last thing that we saw of Elko until he comes back up is this walk up. So it's like he's going down to Charlotte in like a good note. So it's like You know, and that's the thing, and they want to see what we have in Teal because, like we've said a lot, we're just kind of seeing what these guys, like the bullpen, we're just seeing what these guys have, and now they're doing it with the position players. So
yeah, I don't know if it'll be him. I just have a hard time believing they're going to carry 3 catchers. So I don't know if the plan will be to use, especially with Sosa out, who have been playing some first base. Play Teal
maybe Lee, but I don't know because Lee plays first too. He's a catcher, first baseman, but Lee just came back. I don't know.
Lee was the other name that came to mind. I mean, it's got to be Lee or Elko. There's not. I mean, you can't.
They can't afford. They also can't afford to lose somebody in the bullpen, no matter who it is. It's always good to have an extra arm. So it's like I feel like you can't send down a pitcher, just have an extra guy on the bench.
Or could it be Caro that goes down?
I mean, maybe. But I mean, do you feel like he's been working well with the pitchers? Because everybody praises him, like he is. Like
he had a great frame job. I can't even remember exactly when it was in the game. It was towards the end, maybe even in extras. He completely stole a strike 3 in a big spot. It might have been an extra. I don't know. It's all kind of blending together. I don't know what I was all tuned in for, but it was a great receiving of the pitch. He was starting to. He had his glove low, and he started to bring it up like before he even fully had the ball in his mitt. Completely stole the strike. I'm sure other people who were in the chat, if they were watching, saw this. It was a terrible strike 3 call. So I don't know. I would hate to see calling up Teal and sending down Caro. I don't that kind of I
don't think it. I'm not hoping that's the case, but
right. No, I'm not saying that anyone's advocating for it. I'm just saying I hope that it's not. But yeah, it could be.
I mean, you're right, and the way he's been hitting, he hasn't been hitting like the greatest, and he's still getting singles, but you know, and that's
he
the thing.
went what 2 for 5 today?
Yeah, he had 2 hits today. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that would be more deflating for him than necessarily.
Well, yeah,
Corey
it might be.
Lee.
It might do more harm than good.
Because Corey Lee at a certain point probably thinks, well, maybe I make a career out of being a backup catcher.
I mean, Corey Lee could be traded too. If Teal comes up and can like hit and like stay up here, they might trade Lee because then they go Caro and Teal. So I guess it's good options to have. We haven't had options in a few years, so I guess it's good, especially the catcher position. Because geez, Louise. Did you guys see, speaking of that, Yasmani Grandal also got designated for assignment by the Red Sox? I thought he was still on the Pirates.
Good for him, though. He couldn't even move behind the plate when we had him.
No, I know.
To just keep riding out that money train, good for him.
I hate seeing all these guys that are the fall off of a lot of these guys. Like there's some like Eloy, like fuck you, Eloy. I'm sick of your big baby, hi mom bullshit. But like some of these guys, man, it's kind of sad.
But no, I mean, regardless of who gets sent down, I guess we can kind of wrap things up here. I'll be at one of the games this weekend against Kansas City, so it'll be cool to see if Teal's
promotions this weekend. We got Sunday bobblehead day again.
I think there's a Sunday bobblehead. Although on those, I believe they only give out like 7,000 or 7,500, which I didn't realize. So I did not get the bobble. I think it was the
Ray Durham.
Yeah.
The one I was at was like the Charles Comiskey one.
Oh, that one, I know what you're talking about. I mean, they love themselves some promotions stuff, but yeah, they do that. And then they go and face the Astros, and we all know how much the White Sox love to play the Astros. Did we play them already this year? No.
Yeah,
we played the Astros at home.
That's what I thought. Okay, because we won. Didn't we win 2 out of 3?
I think we did. Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah.
Blending that in with the Boston series, but that does feel right. I could be wrong. I'm not confident in it, but
I don't know. But
they're a lot better at home than on the road. That's for sure.
They're insane. The record difference is insane between let me take a look here.
I think they have 5 wins on the road, and then the rest are at home. It is also Friday night lights tomorrow, or Friday, whatever the hell they want to call it. And they have a run differential on Friday nights right now of plus 20. Plus. It's like 20 something. I don't know the exact number, but they're literally they're like killing it on Friday nights.
pointing that out after that Rangers win last time, which I think was that was 2 weeks ago. I
Yeah.
think Friday home game.
Yup.
They are 14-7 or 14-17 at home, and they
I
are
was like
6.
14-7. I was like, wait, really? I
They're
was like,
6-26 on the road.
Yeah, so I mean that road record's just god awful.
Wait, did you say 6-26? I'm sorry, I talked too much.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, okay, so you have the 3 at home against Kansas City. How many of those games do you each I'm going to go with they will win. They're going to sneak 2 just because they're at home. But that's probably very optimistic here. So,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's the Royals, man. The Royals just stress me the hell out. Man, I want to say 2 out of 3 just because they are at home, but I'll just say 1 just because.
I mean, last week for the first time in the history of the show, I took them to win a series. I said they'd take 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, and they got swept. So I'm retiring from that until further notice. I think they'll win 1 this weekend, but I need them to. They similar to Detroit, they just didn't beat Kansas City last year. They haven't played well against them this year. So I kind of need to see it happen before I believe that. Oh, and I'd be happy with 1 shit. I mean. Because I know
Michael
they
A.
just
Taylor revenge weekend
in St. Louis today, so they're going to come in pissed.
Did they lose today?
I think so. Yeah, they got walked off. I'm pretty sure
because they were in extras because they were talking about it on the thing.
They did.
I was hoping they were going to go like 13, give the bullpen hurt a little, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that's good, but yeah, they'll.
Yeah, and Bobby Witt Jr. is so much fun to watch play baseball. So goddamn excited. They are also off on Monday. They have an off day finally. They haven't had an off day in a minute, so because they played all week this week and everything. So the games are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week.
Yeah, they'll probably
the Astros and White Sox. Speaking of that, and I know I've mentioned it on the episodes a few times, and maybe you two have not been paying attention, but starting June 11th, next Wednesday night, I'm going to be doing 1 game each series all month of June. I'm going to go live. We're going to watch the game on the channel, and we're going to come here and we're going to see what happens. So first game next week, next Wednesday. Come and hang out with me. We'll see what happens. We'll try to get these 2. But figured, go and do some watch-alongs on the channel. So I'm going to start with the Astros next Wednesday. Just so while we're talking about it and everything. So come and hang out and watch the game with me. Let's hope it's a good one. We always seem to play okay against the Astros, no matter
Did Yordan Alvarez come off the IL yet?
I don't know. I've not heard that.
That's a difference maker. I mean, they could win. I mean, they'll probably win 1, but they could if he is not playing or playing up to par, because I think he started off pretty shitty this year. Maybe they sneak 2, but they're terrible on the road. You can just see the difference in a lot of the games where they start making the stupid errors and shit like that is on the road. There's just a lack of confidence.
The last game he played was against us in May, so he hasn't played since then. But yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's and maybe it's like I was thinking about it, because even Monday, Monday when they came, they got shelled. It was they needed a day of rest to reset themselves, because they played better Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even though we lost one of the games. It just I don't know. And obviously it is what it is. But even with the road record, you don't got to be great on the road, but just be
you can't be 6-26.
Yeah, don't be 20 games under. Like I said, you take half of those. You take 10 wins. We got 30 wins right now. And that's that's as easy. It's honestly as stupid as it is. And especially the 1-run games, you flip those. That's where, again, it goes. Just you get a couple pieces, get a bullpen, get a couple little this and that, so see what happens. But I feel like, guys, the White Sox baseball is getting a little bit better. So anything else you want to talk about here before we go?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, now it's time for me to talk, because I got a lot to say right now. First of all, if you have not yet, go and subscribe to the Southside Boys, and also go subscribe to Tino's Time, because, guys, we have done it. We hit 3,000 subscribers over there. So we are now on the road to 4,000. So if you have not yet hit the subscribe button, we will be back here. I will be back over on Tino's Time in an hour, or 2 hours, I guess. 8 o'clock. We'll be previewing Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide. So come over and hang out over there. We'll be back next week, obviously. Same time, same place. Thursday, as we'll be here. But go follow all the social medias and all of the X, TikTok, all of them. OTM, Main Event Network, everybody. But before you go, as I said, hit that like button here, turn that notification button on, subscribe, and guys, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week here on the Southside Boys.